Dean of Undergraduate Admissions at Yale University. Looking forward to the conversation.
Great, me too.
You led an extraordinarily complex and difficult decision-making process. I'm excited to learn from how you approached it.
I'm often asked, well, what's the most important part of an application? And my response is unsatisfactory. I don't know what the most important part of your son or daughter's application is going to be. I have to see the rest of the application to know which part's going to be most significant. At the level that a Yale or a Harvard or a Stanford are going to do their admissions work, all of your students that are applying are extremely strong. And what you're trying to do is assemble the most interesting collection of people from the widest possible set of backgrounds and with the widest range of talents and aspirations.
How has the process adapted to that ever greater flow of applications, and how do you make sure that you're paying attention to each individual applicant?
Almost all the major university systems have now gone digital. So you're reading online documents. Anyone can plug into a document from anywhere in the world at any time of day or night. There's a kind of efficient reading protocol where you scan for a number of factors at the first level, and you have to make an assessment. Is this going to fall into the top 10,000 applications out of the 30,000? And then if it is, you're going to subject it to a much lengthier process.
How many people are going to look at the application? And then does it go to a vote? How does that process work exactly?
A competitive candidate is going to get 2 full reads that are blind to one another. It's going to be the officer, and this is true of many of our peer institutions, there's going to be the officer who actually covers that high school and visits that high school or visits the area in which that high school is. And they're going to be reading all the applications from that high school. Then there's going to be a second reader who does not have any responsibility for the area of the high school and therefore no local loyalties and so forth. And they're going to give it a completely blind second read. If those 2 readings coincide and coincide at a pretty high level, that's going to be a second level of triage. And then ultimately that file is going to go to an admissions committee made up of 5 people, a faculty member, a dean, 2 admissions officers, and then the officer who has prepped the case. And they're going to present it as a verbal case. They're going to advocate for that student's admission, and there's going to be a vote. We have our pick of an enormous range of talent and capacity and future potential. What we try to do is put together a class that incorporates as much variety in that as we conceivably can, and variety of every kind. And to do that, we're trying to make sure that you can't come to Yale and find it a completely comfortable place.
You're trying to create a class of people that will be able to sort of test one another and question one another. Ultimately, though, you do have to start with one admissions decision and then build out the class. So can you help me understand how that process works? Is it sort of as the class starts to grow, then you sort of reconsider what holes there are and try to fill the holes?
You over-admit. So as you go through the admissions decisions process, you go through a very long period of time, about 60 days, where you're admitting students. And at the end, you go, oh, we've admitted more students than we can make offers. And then this is the most challenging part of the decision process because you must take students out. You're trying to meet an impossible set of criteria with a very limited number of places when you can command, really an applicant pool that's to die for. So very difficult for somebody who's not played a zero-sum game before to have to make the trade-offs and those choices.
What do you think for-profit decision makers have to learn from the way that you approach decisions at Yale?
It's not who you fire, it's who you hire that is going to make the difference between success and failure for your company. And how those decisions are made and who's making them and what the process is for making those decisions, I think could not conceivably be more critical. And I think that in many companies, it's just underestimated. Very, very senior people should be intimately engaged with the supervision or the overview of of a company's talent recruitment and hiring process, because someone who has been doing this for some time garners a level of experience and a kind of experience that someone who's new to the process or relatively new to the process simply can't achieve. So we always have senior people who are, quotes, reading behind junior people and giving them a constant stream of feedback on the readings that they're doing of the files. I would say equal to the hiring process, the mentoring of the people making those decisions was critical to our ability to function.